Hi everyone, thank you for reading with me today. My name is Anoosha and I'm a brand creative production ambassador intern at Viacom CBS. I mostly get to work with the production team, and one of the jobs that I do is looking through different movies and TV shows and finding important or funny moments from them to send to the producers or editors. The editors stitch together all of these moments to make short, meaningful videos that tell a story and get the audience like yourselves to tune in and watch. Now, I want you to think about your favorite book. How does it make you feel? Does it make you feel happy or sad? Does it make you feel like laughing out loud or going on an adventure? Just like the shows and movies you watch, reading and books and telling stories are so important. You get transported to different worlds, you can feel and learn new things that you didn't know about before, and stories bring us closer together. So I'm going to share my screen here so that we can read a book together. And the book that we're going to read together today is called Jingle All the Way by Shay Zapien. So by looking at this cover, who do you think the story is going to be about? Who do you think Jingle is? Yes, this book is about a little dog named Jingle. And who do you think wrote this book, or who the author of the story is? You're right. The author of this book is Shay Zapien. Now, let's get started. There are lots of stories about good little boys and girls, but there aren't many stories about good little dogs. But this is a story about Jingle the Husky pup, and Jingle was a good dog. He never made a mess, he never chewed holes in things, he never, not even once, kept people awake at night with his barking, and he always, almost always, did what he was told. One day, Jingle was resting beside the front steps of Pineville Elementary School. Suddenly, the school bell began clanging out loud, and the children who were inside ran outside. That made Jingle very happy. And here's Jingle here, who is waiting outside of the school, and suddenly he sees all these kids run outside. So he came back the next day, and the same thing happened. The bell rang, and the children hurried out. It was amazing. Kevin patted his belly, Sarah scratched his ears. Jennifer said, "Jingle, you're a good dog." So why do you think all of these kids are hurrying out of school every day at the same time? Yes, it's because whenever the bell rings, the children have recess and then they can hurry out and play outside, and Jingle is there waiting for them. Jingle loved to bark hello. Jingle even loved to sing. But what Jingle loved most was being with his friends. He liked to race Kevin to the edge of the schoolyard. But every day, Kevin said, "Bye, Jingle, it's time for me to go." Sometimes he followed Sarah to the school bus, but Sarah only said, "Sorry, Jingle, I've got to go home." One snowy day, Jingle even dashed all the way to Jennifer's house. Jennifer laughed. "Silly dog, Jingle, you've got to go home." Usually, Jingle did exactly what he was told, but since he didn't have a home, he couldn't go there. Instead, he went back to Pineville Elementary and waited for the school bell. He waited all night and all day, but it didn't ring. Why do you think Jingle is waiting outside of the school all night and all day? Yes, it's because Jingle doesn't have a home, so he's waiting outside of the school for the school kids, but none of them are there. Are there any clues in this picture that tell us why the school kids aren't at school? Right, it's because the school is closed for the holidays, and this sign here says see you in January. So all of the kids are on winter break, and that's why they're not at school. Jingle decided to look for his friends. After all, they were the closest thing he had to a family. He searched everywhere, but the kids were nowhere to be found. Then Jingle remembered seeing a very long line of kids at the toy store. What were they waiting for so patiently? Was it important? The very thought of finding his friends made Jingle want to sing. But when Jingle arrived at the store, there were no children. There was only a colorful storefront window and a whole lot of quiet. So here's Jingle at the toy store, but there's no one there. The toy store is closed. Jingle was tired from all his searching, so he made his way behind the toy store and plopped into the first soft place he found and fell fast asleep. And even though it didn't feel like a home, it was quite cozy. Moments later, someone carefully lifted the bag Jingle had snuggled into. Well, what have we here? A voice spoke warmly. Someone all alone? At Christmas? Placing the green velveteen bag in the front of his sled, the man remembered a letter he'd been given earlier that day from a good little boy in the toy store. Ho, 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 he said to himself. This gives me an idea. He wasn't sure what was going to happen, but suddenly Jingle felt very happy. Who do you think this man is that found Jingle outside of the toy store? Yes, could it be Santa Claus? The next morning, Jingle was surrounded by the smell of pine and peppermint. There was a fancy collar around his neck with the bell that jingled whenever he moved. But the best surprise of all came when Jingle saw Andrew, one of his friends from school. It's Jingle, Andrew said. Jingle, you're such a good dog. The two friends spent the rest of Christmas Day playing together, Jingle's bell ringing merrily all the while. That night, before Andrew turned out the lights in his room, Jingle hopped onto the bed. Andrew said, Jingle, stay. And Jingle did. The end. So I hope you all enjoyed that story. And what do you think the most important lesson or lessons are that you learned from this book? Yes, those are great. For me, I learned that it's always important to treat everyone with kindness, to be a good friend, and to lend a helping hand whenever someone needs it. Thank you all again for reading with me today. Keep reading, keep learning, and have a happy, happy holiday. Thank you.